Yo guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I will be talking about episode 5 of season 2 of The Last of Us, called Feel Her Love. Alright, so episode 5 for now is the shortest episode, but it's also the episode for me personally that feels like they crammed the most stuff in. That's because a lot of things happen in this episode. Of course, we have the beginning, and throughout the entire episode I thought we were going to get some kind of flashback episode, like when she took another guitar. Like, Seattle is splattered with guitars, by the way, but hey, we have a lot of guitars, and she's taking a guitar again. I thought, okay, we're going into the flashbacks, we're going to get Joel again. Of course, that didn't happen. Spoilers alerts. If you didn't watch the episode, go watch that first and come back until the end of the episode. So next week is going to be another cry fest. Well, it started this week already, but next week we're gonna be broken for the entire day. So yeah, that was interesting. That was really nice. Yeah, they stuff a lot of stuff in this. Like, we have them making a plan, we have a little bit of exploration in the theater, then we immediately go to where they see a lot of people and they get shot once, or I guess, or they see the bodies, and then they're like, then we get the logical reaction of, oh, you're pregnant, you shouldn't come with me. That is something I missed last week a little bit. I wasn't as angry for not including that as the entire world seemed to be, but I thought that was like, that I noticed that there was a difference. And it wasn't in this episode. It was in this episode. That was good. And then it was night all of a sudden, so they walked the entire night, I guess, to go into a building with stalkers, which was a great scene. Like, that scene wasn't in the game, I think, or I couldn't remember it, so it was a big deviation from the game, but in a very good way. Like, holy shit, I felt the tension in that scene. Like, or first seeing 1, then seeing 2, then seeing like 12 to 13 more. Awesome. I hoped we would have gotten a bit more stalking of those. If these were the stalkers, I wished we could have gotten a little more, but I was very happy and very tense with what I got from that scene. It was very smart thinking, very good planning. And then all of a sudden Jesse came in. Yeah, I'm just talking about everything that happened in the episode because it's a lot, so I can not forget anything and give my opinion. Jesus Christ, are you guys okay on the matter when we go along? So then Jesse came in, which was the biggest piece of the episode that I was like, oh, okay, together with something else I will get to in the end. So I was like, what the fuck? How is he here all of a sudden? And how did he went to the theater? And how, what? And Tommy's here too? What? All right, of course, I've talked about it in previous episodes. That is not a big deviation. The deviation of it is the way they get to Seattle, Tommy and Jesse. But I'm happy they're there. I'm happy that they're doing something with that. And I guess we won't see Tommy until the last episode, because next week is going to be the flashback episode, and then afterwards we may see Tommy and what happens to him. I will not spoil the games, but I mean, he's in Seattle. So I guess that will be maybe the end of this season to go into next season. So they set it up quite nicely. But Jesse's back. Then we got this big ass chase, what was awesome. And then I immediately got goosebumps because when they went into the park, I knew what part of the game we were in. And I knew the fucking Seraphites were coming. And I loved the Seraphites in the game. They were incredibly difficult sometimes because they used these melee weapons that were brutes. All of them were kind of brutal. Holy shit, what the fuck? My cat is climbing a chair. Alright, so that happens and I was like, okay, we're going into it. And then they did that offering scene, which was brutal because you saw some intestines coming out and stuff like that. And then Dina got shot, which is something I did not expect. So that was very interesting as well. I was like, oh, and then we don't see her anymore for the entire episode. And then comes the other thing. I was like, oh, okay, now. Which, the first one, of course, was Jesse. I do think his inclusion in this episode was nice, but also felt really forced, because why did he get there all of a sudden? If you know what I mean. How did he find them? I want to know a little more about that, because that was just insane. Like, not only Seattle, but also the theater, but also them in that situation. That was a little convenient. But I like this inclusion, and I'm happy that he and Tommy are in it, but it felt very convenient. To then immediately go from that place with the Seraphites, where Ellie had to run, to the hospital, which was okay. Actually, the shot was composed in a way that I thought the entire hospital was in some kind of small stone in the park. So when she went to it, I thought, like, what is the convenience with that stone all of a sudden? And then they zoomed in, and I recognized the way the stone was built looked a lot like the hospital. I was like, oh, I'm stupid. That's something I noticed. It's 5 a.m. It's light again. So yeah, you know what it is. All right, and then we have a shot of Nora, and then Ellie finds Nora, and we're there. Yeah, I thought that went really quick. I feel like they skipped over some things from the games in there, but I don't know if it was just Ellie fighting off hordes, loads and loads of infected and clickers at that time. So that was interesting. But yeah, she found her, and then I thought, like, oh, are they really gonna kill her? But then they stretched it a little bit. They did kind of the same thing as you do in the game with the chase. I think she goes down into the basement as well, but I don't think she, in the game, went as far down as B2, which is, of course, where the spores in this series are introduced, which is a lovely addition, by the way. I love that they finally did that, and I am just wondering now in what way that they're gonna learn how to cope with it. I mean, Ellie now knows that it's something that Jesse, Tommy, and Dina can't go there, but she can, which was brutal, by the way. I did hope one little thing, and it may have just been me, but take that scene, like when Nora said, like, oh, we're both infected now. You killed us both. And then she said, did we? Did I? And then, of course, Nora says, like, so you're the immune one. So it's true, you're the immune one. I feel like Ellie could have made it a little worse for Nora, and I would have loved it a little more if she just was like, did I kill us both? And just sniffed it all in. I would have loved that. That would have been epic as fuck if she did that. It didn't happen. Not mad, just a bit disappointed. No, it's not true. Maybe a bit. No, it's okay. So I felt like, oh, okay. But yeah, then the end with Nora came, and we had the thing with Nora and the entire scene of the hospital, and the official confirmation that Ellie knows what happens. So we know there has been some things that we haven't seen yet with Joel and Ellie, and which are the things that we are now going to see in episode 6, probably, highly probably, because they introduced Joel again in the last second of this episode. I have to say, immediately made me cry again. I was like, she woke up, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Joel. And Joel was and he said, hey kiddo, and I was like, Joel. And then the episode ended. All right, so yeah, this episode crammed the most stuff in it. It was the weirdest episode in that way, and I did think that they crammed in a little too much to make some things feel more convenient than plot-driven, like inclusion and the end of Nora and the inclusion of Jesse, which could have been this episode, but maybe fleshed out a little bit more. If you could have seen hints or something like that, that would have helped. Still, I very much loved the episode. I still very much loved everything about this. It's still a solid 9 out of 10 for me because I love the series so much. So yeah, what did you think of this episode? Please let me know in the comments down below because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on it. Only 2 episodes left for this season, which is very, very sad. And I do hope we get season 3 as fast as possible. Alright, what did you think? Please let me know. I am wondering what you are thinking about it. And please consider to give this a like. a comment, and a subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.